I'm Lindsey. This is my daughter, Hazel. I am a neurodivergent mom with a neurodiverse family. And what that means is that me and my family's brains work just a little bit differently than other people. Maybe they work like yours, maybe not. We all have different brains. I myself have ADHD, and my daughter is autistic. And some of the services that we received is occupational therapy. And that is what Becky does, is occupational therapy. And it teaches us a lot about how our bodies process sensory input. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't know, like we have more than the five senses. And I wrote a book about it. So, Wiggle Stomps and Squeezes, Calm My Jitters Down, like I mentioned, is written by a neurodivergent author, and the illustrator is actually autistic. It is a story about sensory differences, and it is for anybody who has felt the need for a wiggle, stomp, or squeeze. And I think we all can relate to that. This is Becky. She's going to be sharing some really fun activities with you today, and we're going to be wiggling, stomping, and squeezing a bit. I can pass it over to her, and she's going to share what occupational therapy.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be with you today. So, I am an occupational therapist, and sometimes that's hard to explain, but my favorite way to say it is I help kiddos do what they want to do, have to do, and need to do over the course of the day. So, that's everything from getting dressed to eating food to playing with friends to swinging on the swing outside. And I love that it lets me hang out with a whole bunch of different kids and a whole bunch of different bodies and meet them and get to know exactly who they are in their own unique body. So you have 8 senses. Hold up. 8? Do you know all 8? So we have the ones you know. Can everybody point to sight? How do you see? What do you see with? You see with your eyes. Okay. Everybody wiggle for touch. What do you use when you touch something? Some people might use their hands. I have friends that might use their toes for touch if they don't like touching with their hands. So you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Okay. I want everybody to be really quiet. Okay. What is something that you hear? Okay. Yell it out really, really loud. I hear a lawnmower. You guys hear? The next one is smell. I bet you guys know this one. What do you smell with? Your nose. Do you have a favorite smell? Sometimes I think smells can be really, really strong, like the smell of an orange. And sometimes smells can be really, really soft, like the smell of a flower. Okay. And this next one is my favorite. On the count of 3, I want you to yell out your favorite taste in the whole world. You ready? 1, 2, 3. I love it. I feel like I heard you all the way down here in Virginia. That was a good one. Okay. So those are the 5 that you probably have learned before. But wait, we said there were 8. So we're missing 3. Okay. And these ones, we're going to have to stand up to really figure them out. Okay. So the first one is a really big word. It's called proprioception. Ooh. Okay. Everybody, I want you to stand up. I'm going to move my chair over here. So we're going to stand up and we're going to figure out what proprioception really feels like. Okay. For this one, I want you to close your eyes. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a part of your body to touch with your fingers. Okay. So our eyes are closed. Listening ears are on. Can you touch your head with your fingers? What about your shoulders? What about your right knee? What about your tootsie toes? Okay, open your eyes and look at me again. Wait a second. How did you know where your head, and your shoulders and your right knee and your tippy toes were. You weren't looking with your eyes. You knew where your body was because of proprioception. How cool is that? Don't sit down yet. I'm moving like when I sit down. That was a silly choice. So proprioception tells us where our body is in space. How cool is that? The other one, the next one in the middle, you see the little girl on the swing? That's a picture of our vestibular sense. So what I want you to do is while we're standing up, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to wiggle your head back and forth. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay, wait a second. Your eyes were closed again. How did you know if you were wiggling your head? It's because your vestibular sense tells you where your head is in space. It's like when you're riding on an elevator and you're going up, 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 up. But you're looking at the elevator wall. Nothing changed. But you still know you're moving because of your vestibular sense. Okay, this next one's a little tricky, but I think we can figure it out together. This last one is called interoception. Ooh, fancy word. I want you, while we're standing up here, I want you to point on your body where you feel hungry. When you feel hungry, where do you feel it? Do you feel it down here? Do you feel it up here? And this might be for different people on different bodies. So when I feel hungry, I feel it right here. What about if you need to go potty? Where do you feel that on your body? I feel that right here. And that feeling that you feel when you feel sick or thirsty or hungry or like you need to go to the bathroom, all of those are the insides of your body letting you know how they feel, called interoception. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, so we talked a little bit about interoception, of that feeling in our bodies when we feel hungry or tired or thirsty. I love this picture of the little kid eating the chocolate cake. Can you raise your hands if you like eating chocolate cake? I'm not going to raise my hand because I don't like eating chocolate cake, especially because that chocolate cake looks like it's got something squishy in the middle. And I don't really like how that looks to me. But my tummy, remember I pointed to my tummy right here, is telling me that I'm hungry. So maybe I'll go find a different option because I'm going to listen to my body when it tells me, Becky, it's time to eat. And next, we had proprioception. So everybody, sitting or standing, close your eyes, lift your arms in the air, wave them around like you just don't care. Get those wiggles out, big wiggles, 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 wiggles. Woo! Ah, I love everyone's proprioceptive sense. Way to wiggle his arms. And our last one, do you remember what it is? We did interoception. We did proprioception. Ooh, and then we have vestibular. Okay, for this one, we're going to see how our body feels with different type of vestibular input. I know, we're getting real fancy now. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to spin in a circle 5 times. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Okay, woo, that doesn't feel good to my body. That makes me feel kind of sick. It makes my head kind of hurt. Makes my tummy doesn't feel very good. I did not like the way that vestibular input made my body feel. But I do like when I go side to side. So let's do that. Let's do that 6 times because I like it a little bit better. And I'm the one who's talking right now. So let's do 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whew. I feel so much better. Thank you for doing that with me. So we have to remember, as we were doing that, I bet some of you really liked how you felt when you spun around. I bet that feeling. Awesome. So look, Miss Lindsey and I felt different when we spun around. Everyone experiences all 8 of those senses differently. And that leads to us liking different things. I bet Miss Lindsey really loves rides where she spins around and around and around. And I would not go on them at all because I would not like them. I like music. Does anybody like music when it's really, really loud? Raise your hand. Oh, we were just talking about this actually. I do not like it when my clothes get wet. It does not feel good to my body. Do other people like it when their clothes get wet? Can you raise your hand if you do? I'm not going to raise my hand because I don't like it when the clothes get wet. But you know what? If my kids were here, they'd raise their hands. They do not care one iota if they get wet. Their body is different than mine. And that leads us to like and do different things. So sometimes we see these differences being more extreme in autistic individuals. So we think about Lindsey reading her book and our friend who is playing with the sand and how yucky and overwhelming that felt for him. His body was out of control. And someone else might not like it, but their body may not get under control. So sometimes our friends who are autistic have a hard time taking in that sensory information and figuring out what to do with their bodies. And that's okay. They can still be our friend. So why do you need to know all this? I mean, it's pretty fun to spend a Tuesday hanging out with Miss Lindsay and I, but what's so interesting about knowing you have 8 senses instead of 5 senses? When we understand how our body takes in information from the world around us through touch and smell and sight and proprioception and vestibular, we'll know how to better move our body and handle our emotions throughout our day. It gives us a way to talk to the adults around us or the friends around us and let them know what our body needs in order to do what we want to do. So these are some really good strategies. So we have some that will help calm our bodies down. Can you remember when we spun around and I said, oh, that doesn't feel good. I'm going to go back and forth. That going back and forth, rocking slows me down. It's calming. Some other things that can help calm your body down are turning lights out, getting away from somewhere bright, maybe playing some relaxing music, maybe something warm or a deep squeeze from someone you love. Sometimes something like drinking a hot beverage like hot chocolate can calm your body. But then sometimes we don't want to calm our bodies down. Sometimes we want to hype our bodies up. We're ready to have a good time with our friends. So things that can help wake your body up, hype it up, turning on some bright lights, running around like a crazy person, playing some upbeat music, spinning around, tickles, eating something that's really super sour, or maybe drinking some ice cold lemonade through a straw. All of those things will help you change how your body is feeling by using sensory information from the world around you. How cool is that? So the way we can best figure out how to change the environment around us so we can do what we need to do is to find how everything overlaps. So I'm the blue circle right there that says person. When I understand what my body needs in order to feel comfortable. So I, Miss Becky, like sound to be low. I like lights to be dim. I like to wiggle in my seat a little bit. When I understand that about myself, and I know that I need to sit and talk with you and have a great time. So my body's going to need to be a little bit steady. I'm going to do things like have everybody stand up and do some wiggles. I might also have something near me. I'm using a binder clip today that I can fidget with to help me get my wiggles out while I'm still here talking to you. So we can understand what our body needs, change the environment around us as we need, and talk with the adults in our lives about how we can change the activity that we're doing to help us be more comfortable.
Yay! So that is the end of our presentation today. We are so excited that we got to spend some time with you. Thank you, Becky, for explaining all of that. The 8 senses. It has definitely changed my whole life. I just learned about them in the last couple of years, and it makes it so much easier to understand myself and my kiddos. So we are so happy that you guys joined us today. Here's some of the places that you can find us online, our website, There's virtual author read-alongs and, of course, social media. And then you can also find Becky on social media at Adapt and Grow.
I will tell you, we are not as adept in the social media world as Lindsay and Haley are, but that's okay. We
That's
are still
okay.
here if you need us. So so we have about 15 more minutes and where we're going to be able to ask some questions. But the slide that's still up right now has the activity guide that is included in the virtual or in the resource package that your grown-ups can download. So we've included that in there for you as well. So we just learned a lot of things from Lindsay and Becky. And I bet some questions have come up because these big words are things that I really only just learned about recently, too. I want to show you a little bit about how you can learn more about autism and neurodiversity and things in our virtual classrooms. So this is our All About Autism virtual classroom, which has lots of information about autism. A lot of these are created by autistic authors and creators. This one right here is called Understanding the Spectrum, and it's a comic or graphic that was actually created by the illustrator of this book. So Becca Burgess created that thing, which helps us understand what it means that autism is a spectrum. So I highly recommend checking that out. But in the library, we have so many books, either created by autistic or ADHD or neurodivergent authors, or ones that really help us understand people who are different. So those you can all find on the learning portal as well. And then there's also this one, which is more about neurodiversity. And in the neurodiversity one, there are 3 videos specifically about ADHD and a little bit more. And at some point, I'll make an actual ADHD virtual classroom, but ADHD, I didn't quite get to it. I want to say thank you so much to Lindsay and Becky for joining us today, and for our friends who are joining us live and everyone who is watching it through the recording later. I am so glad that you are taking time to learn about how our brains are different so that we can be better humans for ourselves and also for our friends. So I want to say thank you all for joining us. Lindsay and Becky, if you want to say goodbye, and then we will sign off.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. See you again soon.